Yo, what up? This is M. Dot from M.music.com. Check it out at www.m.music.com. Got some tracks over there, some free stuff. So anyway, this is a follow-up to a video that I posted a while ago about melodies. And I'm actually going to take that a little further and do it with a cappella and see how you can come up with a melody and use that same technique when you're just making your beats. Um, make them more friendly for your MC or singer. So anyway, so the beat is normally done already. Normally these type of tracks take some time. If you can see, I normally use Logic, and um, I'm just gonna zoom in into the area in which the actual sample is. This is the sample, not a sample, but the acapella. Pocket full of money and my wrist don't grow. What you heard, we don't love them hoes. Okay, and I actually just zoomed in into the part that was the hook. The first thing that you need to do is obviously try to find out the key of the song. Um, Normally, once you find the key of the song, then you can start working on your melodies and then following this technique in which most likely will put you in the right vicinity of keys that you can play and make it sound good. So anyway, so I normally what I'll do is after I do all the first steps as finding tempo and stuff like that for the acapella, then I'll find the hook, and then from that point on, from the hook, I will search for the key of the song, and from that point on, once I find it, then I know the scales and I know a little bit of chords, and then I can take it from there. All these things are not difficult to learn. You should be trying to learn that anywhere because it's only to your advantage. But even if you have limited knowledge and just musical talent, you can use your this knowledge to figure out what's missing and come up with something that sounds good. So anyway, the best way to do it is always to, at least in my, especially when you're not fully trained, is to most likely just open a piano patch. Let me just try to mute everything else. That way nothing plays while, and just make the acapella play. Alright, so I have that, and then we have the piano piece. So basically what you can do is listening to the hook, just trying to find the key that goes better with that particular hook. Obviously, there are possibly 8 different type of matches, so it's just an issue of just playing all of them until you find a key that sounds good with the hook. So alright, so that ended up being for those of you don't know keys, that's actually was what you would call a D flat, no, yeah, D flat or a C sharp. Basically, is the first black note after the C key. Now, if you don't know the actual names of the keys, Google any type of piano theory, and you will find hundreds and hundreds of sites that actually will break down, keys and their names and all that different thing. But you should be able to figure it out which one is C, and then the first black key right on top of it. So if looking here, I'm actually had the high melody, and let me just open up a little bit that and unmute it, and then let's try to see the keynotes. Actually here came out to be a D. So actually after I did all my stuff, and now there's a trial and an error obviously, but after going back and forth, I figured out that the actual key of the song was D, D major. So from that point on, if you know the D scale, then you can just go ahead and play all the notes in the D scale will most likely work in a melody. So the D scale is, no, the D scale is, so it is, so that's the D scale. And obviously, again, you can go to YouTube and check out, and it's actually sites that just explain scales and chords and stuff like that. You need to start putting yourself in a position that at least you know what the hell is a scale, what's a chord, and how to work between. So this is the D major scale, and so basically anytime I press any of those keys in that scale, chances are it will work. So from that point on, I'm just freestyling and going with the vibe of the song. It's very simple, and then from that point on, you build. I could have done anything. So if you notice, as I bring other elements, so let's take a look at this one. The mini notes of this one. Okay, so let me just solo that real quick. If you notice, so basically other notes in that scale. Obviously, the one things that also you start when you start reading up about theory and chords and keys. You will find out about tonics and different type of keys that do different function in the songs. Obviously, that's not something to explain. That's probably something that you should read up, and then when you feel that you're up to speed, then you can start exploring those options. But again, if one thing you get from this tutorial is just understand that once you are in that particular key, you can do hundreds and hundreds of different things, and they all be musically correct. There's no correct or wrong thing to do in music, but you should start with the basics, and from that point on, you can express yourself. So again, this is just another melody on the same scale. And now from that point on, you golden. Let me start muting certain things. If you see here, yeah, this is another same melody again on the guitar, and then they just put this on solo this guy. Same melody from that scale. So basically now you're just layering, and you could have gone any direction on this. You could have gone any single direction that you wanted on this particular track. And that's normally there goes your melodies. Again, we knew that trying to emphasize the point, but now obviously there's more stuff that happens from there. Once you know the key, then you can do chords. I don't have no chords in this particular track, but then you can go to different keys. There's just so much stuff to learn. So the end of the story is, if you're in a position in which you need to make tracks and you cannot rely on samples and then you bring in the drums, nothing out of the ordinary. What is this? Now let it play a little bit. And maybe maybe the next tutorial I will put up and how to do some effects, some slowdowns, how to use automation. If you're here right now, here I just created, and you can kind of see it here on the vocal track. That's that different type of speed down and some effect and automation. So again, check out my music at www.m.music.com. If you register, you get some free tracks. If you're really serious, you can get some exclusive stuff. And until the next tutorial. Alright? One. There's no love for the other side, fuck the trick.